Respected dear family members, my pranams to you. Last 3-4 days, the news media, telecasting, broadcasting and printing and publishing, almost all the negatives connected with the JNU students protest procession and protection of Indian democracy, protection of the freedom of the press, protection of the individual rights, particularly motivated, guided and encouraged by the leftist intellectuals from India and outside, and everybody is trumpeting that Indian present rulers are responsible for the killing of the democracy in India, and world over the so-called few number of intellectuals are standing shoulder to shoulder protesting against the present Indian situation supposed to be created by the Indian rulers. But a simple question, these media just did not remember, or nobody reminded them. However, Supreme Court took action yesterday about it. I was thinking, and during my lectures I was explaining that in fact Yaqub Memon and Afzal Guru were hanged to death not by the present government of India. They were in fact directly judicial killing was done by the Supreme Court, and they went through each and every point connected with their hanging, and throughout the night and the day they discussed. Finally, based on all the judicial, legal, criminal rules existing in India, they gave the verdict to hang these two people. Yaqub Memon responsible for the death of more than 150 people in Bombay. Afzal Guru responsible for the breaking of the temple of Indian democracy, the parliament, which finally they concluded that they deserve the judicial killing, hanging. Just like when Indira Gandhi was killed through bullets, that killer was also hanged. When Mahatma Gandhi was killed by Godse, he was also hanged in India. So these are all not done by the rulers. If somebody is hanged through the order of the High Court or Supreme Court in Kerala, one cannot point out that Sri Ummanchandi, the Chief Minister of Kerala, is responsible for that. And now coming back to the point, when Rohit Vemula, the Dalit, supported purely by the terrorist Muslim and motivated by the leftist and the so-called intellectuals of Hyderabad University, and later in the case of Kannaya and other Jawaharlal Nehru University Students Union movement workers, supported by a part of students and supported by a part of teachers, they were protesting against the Supreme Court rule, Supreme Court verdict, which commented on the death sentence of Kannaya or death sentence of Afzal Guru. So they were not protesting against the Indian rulers, Sri Narendra Modi or Prime Minister. They were protesting against the verdict of Supreme Court. So the action should not be taken by the government rulers. Actions are taken by, should be taken by, will have to be taken by, ought to be taken by the Supreme Court of India. And nicely, what I was telling for the last 1 week, yesterday it appears that the Supreme Court has taken it very seriously, and the activities going on in Jawaharlal Nehru is against the judicial system, against the judges who were labelled as the killers. The notice distributed in Jawaharlal Nehru University clearly mentions that judicial killing was done. Judicial killing means the killing done by the judiciary. So the finger need not be pointed out to the Indian rulers. It should be pointed out as far as the hanging is concerned. It is the judiciary, it is the magistrate, it is the judges, it is the rulers who gave the verdict for hanging and killing these terrorists or the leaders of the terrorists. And when activities are going on, strike is going on, protest is going on, and processions are going on against these terrorists killing, automatically the responsibility of taking action should be vested on the judicial system. Indian judicial system is supposed to be one of the best system, free from the politics and free from the politicians, and their verdict is being challenged by the students of and the intellectuals of Jawaharlal Nehru University, supported by partly dying leftist intellectuals and supported by mentally abnormal Rahul Gandhi and leaders of Congress who are always silent till they come to the power, and other political parties who are waiting for eating the residues available after the others eating. And the net result, the procession or the protest or whatever is going on, whatever were going on in Hyderabad University and whatever are going on in Jawaharlal Nehru University is not against the rulers of India. It is against Indian judicial system and Supreme Court. So the lookout notice came out yesterday in search of 3 people who worked against the judiciary. That is legally most important. Most unfortunately, the leftist and the supporters of the terrorist and the intellectuals of different universities, what they are doing is at one level bad. What the media is giving the support for them, and the media is motivating this type of terrorism supporters in the name of freedom of the press. And in Kerala too, we can see that when the press, both electronic media and print media, they are all encouraging this type of terrorism motivators, and the support is being projected in such a way that world over people are criticizing Indian rulers. Indian rulers are not responsible for killing these terrorists, and Indian judiciary is responsible for killing or hanging, and all the protest, all that arrows should be shot against the Supreme Court for their verdict. Then the question will be different and the answer will be different. Unfortunately, now all the blame goes to this particular ruler of India or rulers of India. Anyway, I am very sure that when the press will also realize, just like Arnab Goswami in Times India, Times Now, realized the truth about patriotism and nationalism, and he defined what is meant by terrorism and the supporters of terrorism. And when these people started arguing against raising the Indian national tricolor flag, why this type of protest is coming from the intellectuals against the Indian tricolor, Indian national flag? All these things are to be evaluated through the intellectual point of making India unstable and instability. And there is a caucus world over. One side the Muslims, another side a group of Christians, and the third side the leftist and other power mongers on the fourth side are all interested not in making India but breaking India. And breaking India is their ultimate goal and pathway, for which one group of the rulers are standing against it. So all these arrows and the bullets are shot against those who want to protect India. And every individual should understand about it and work with the patriotism and nationalism for protecting our nation and motherland. Thank you very much. My pranams to you.